The Detroit Lions took care of business on Sunday with the Cleveland Browns coming into town, winning 34-10 to advance to 3-1, and now first place in the NFC North with the Packers tying the Cowboys 40-40. On this video, I'm going to tell you why I believe this Detroit Lions team under Dan Campbell is good enough to win the NFC North and head to the Super Bowl. I don't see a world where this team isn't capable of that. Some may think I'm crazy for saying that. You may believe I have a little bias in my videos towards the Detroit Lions, or that I'm a Lions homer, which is true. I love the Lions, hate the Packers, pray for the Packers' downfall every night. But I truly believe that the Detroit Lions are on a Super Bowl trajectory, and it starts with the defense. First off, Aiden Hutchinson is back. Through 4 games, he has 5 sacks and looks better than ever. And when you think about teams that excel in the postseason, they have that strong pass rush. The Chiefs and Chris Jones, the Eagles pass rush last season, the Rams over the past few years. And Hutch and the Lions have that. Wasn't huge in week 1's matchup, but then again, the whole Lions team was out of it against the Packers, and he still led the team in pressures. Week 2 finally got home for his first sack since injury. And then since then, Aiden Hutchinson has turned up. Game-breaking against the Ravens, forcing the fumble with a sack, and then against the Browns was a part of an unstoppable pass rush, another forced fumble, and 2 more sacks. Still can't believe that he had 7.5 through 5 last year. He's definitely not getting that. But Hutch is leading one of the best pass rushing units in the NFL. Detroit is tied for first with 14 sacks. And a big part of that has been Muhammad. Entering his 7th season, he's having the best start of his career. Some of it can definitely be attributed to Hutch. He takes a lot of attention from the offensive line and really opens things up. But Muhammad is winning rushes, and that's what the Lions need. A lot of people criticized Brad Holmes when he said we're fine and not re-signing Zadarius Smith. But Detroit has proved everyone wrong and has shown they can get league-leading pressure and also blitz effectively. Kelvin Shepard called a great game against the Ravens. Branch, Anzalone, Campbell, Barnes have all gotten in on sacks, which is huge and a big change from last season when they were blitzing a ton and not getting home. It's unlucky that Marcus Davenport got hurt again, but at least his injury isn't season ending. Hopefully he can come back and stay healthy. The rest of the Lions defensive line has also been playing extremely well. DJ Reader, great run stopper, and Tyleik Williams had the big game against the Bears, 2 pass deflections. You love to see that. And Aleem McNeil could be back within the next 2 weeks. With those 3 big guys rotating up front, I don't see how anybody will be able to run the ball on the Lions. And it helps that Aleem McNeil also has a pretty strong pass rush. A big part of Kelvin Shepard's game plan is he wants to make football teams one-dimensional, and a big way the Lions can do that is by taking away the run, and they've done that through their first 4 games. Shepard's defense currently ranks 8th in rushing yards per game allowed, and I expect that to rise throughout the season, especially with Aleem McNeil coming back, and that leads to more dropbacks from the quarterback with more opportunities for mistakes and turnovers for the Lions defense. Now, the biggest worry out of Kelvin Shepard's crew, and really the only worry, is the secondary. We all know what I'm about to talk about, but there is still a lot of good. The safety duo of Kirby and Branch is still elite. Joseph has 2 picks through 4 games after his league-leading 9 last season. He did leave the Browns game with an injury, but it doesn't seem to be too serious. And then there's Branch, who I believe is one of the best players in the NFL. Can play anywhere, do anything, guard anyone. Already has 5 pass breakups in the season, a forced fumble, 4 tackles for loss, and a sack. It sucks that his pick 6 against the Packers didn't count. That would have been huge. And he dropped the interception against the Ravens, which was heartbreaking. Still a stud. CB1, DJ Reed from the Raiders was off to a great start to the season and a big pickup for the Lions, but then went down with an injury after 4 pass deflection in his first pick on the season. Looking like he won't be placed on injured reserve, but the Lions are going to need to get him back because I was wrong. I was kind of hating on people for the Terrion Arnold hate, but it's definitely deserved. Well, I don't want to spread hate. I don't hate Terrion Arnold. He was the 1st-round pick in Detroit, but it is true that Terrion is not playing very well. He's racking up penalties, and then among everybody in his position, he's 8th in tackles and 9th in targets and 12th in receptions allowed through 4 games. That's not top tier. That's not 1st-round caliber. Hopefully he can pick it up and also get healthy. But overall, the Lions defense is super solid, and I believe they can play up to hang with anybody. The pass rush is there. The defensive line is super strong and great against the run game. The linebacker room is really playing up. Alex Anzalone's having a great start to his season, and Jack Campbell continues to get better. He's a real leader on that defense, leads the team in tackles. Him and Kelvin Shepard, he was his linebacker coach for his first 2 seasons in the league. That relationship is key, and also Shepard has been calling some great games. The cornerback room, the only issue, the only liability I see on this defense, and it's definitely real. Dan Campbell came out and said they're going to look to acquire some cornerback talent. I wonder who they're going to sign. But when Campbell says they're going to sign a cornerback, then you know the depth and probably the talent issue is definitely real. Overall, Detroit's defense ranks 15th through 4 weeks in the NFL, averaging 22 points per game allowed, which is right in the middle of the road and right where Dan Campbell wants his team to be, because they can win any game when their offense is averaging 34 points per game against the best defenses in the NFL and ranks first in points per game. The Lions offense is just the best. The O-line is playing great. Tate Ratledge looks to be another one of Brad Holmes' phenomenal draft picks. Jared Goff is throwing dimes, and I think people have started to take for granted how good Jared Goff is, how well placed his balls are. Wait, pause. How great Jared Goff is at reading defenses at the line of scrimmage. He looks like one of the best QBs, top 5 for sure, through the first 4 weeks of this season. And then the run game is going. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football. Was able to put up 91 rushing yards on the Cleveland Browns, supposedly best defense in the NFL. The whole offense together is blocking well, even the skill positions. And then Laporta, great trustworthy third down threat. St. Brown is having the best start of a season in his career, 6 touchdowns through the last 3 games. Looks like the best wide receiver in football right now. Some of that is due to how good the Lions offense is, but he is undeniably a top 10 wide receiver, probably top 5. And then Jameson Williams, the deep threat with his speed, opens up the middle of the field, and really just another thing that the opponent's safeties have to look out for and play back for. I just don't know who is beating this team. I know they had a bad week 1 against the Packers, but that was just misassignments, missed blocks, who's guarding who on defense. And Matt LaFleur's Packers have reminded us who they really are. They're a team that doesn't take care of business nor consistently win big games. Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys, they tie 40-40, and then they lose to the Browns. On the other hand, Detroit, Chicago at home put up 50. Ravens, Monday Night Football, put up 38 points and handedly won despite the final score. And then Cleveland only allowed 10 points and got the job done. And it's still unbelievable. I just can't understand how the Packers lost to the Browns. Joe Flacco is so old. He can still throw the ball, but he's not going to kill you. I know the Browns defense is really good, but when the offense isn't possessing the ball, the defense is going to be out there for a long time. Surely the better team wins, right? I guess not. The Ravens got the job done. They blew out the Browns. I just don't see how you could pick anybody else besides the Lions to win the NFC North. They were my pick at the beginning of the season, and it's looking great. The Packers, a lot of people picked the Packers to win. I actually put them last, and that was before the Micah Parsons trade. Now, it might not be that bad, but they can't beat the Cowboys. They can't beat the Browns. Those are 2 teams that aren't making the playoffs. And if you're struggling to win, I don't see how you are going to be a contender for the Super Bowl if you can't take care of business against these teams that are looking at who they're going to draft next spring. The top 4 teams to me in the NFC are the Lions, Rams, Bucks, and Eagles. Now, the Rams did just lose another game to the 49ers on Thursday Night Football, but you could attribute part of that to a divisional rivalry and the short week. They only have a few days to prepare, and the team is probably tired from Sunday. The Puka Nacua and Stafford connection is as good as ever, and then the Bucks are extremely good because Baker Mayfield is their quarterback. He can get it done on his legs. He's clutch, great arm. And the Eagles, I mean, they're 4-0. They beat both of those teams. And they win when Jalen Hurts doesn't even complete a pass in the second half. How does this work? But we're going to see how the Lions face off against all 3 of those teams because they play them in Kansas City this season. So it's going to be interesting. The Eagles struggle at times, but then again, they keep winning. So if they just keep winning, that's all that matters. The Rams are good. However, some inconsistencies in their secondary And sometimes Stafford, if he's not in his A game, they can struggle. The Bucs under defensive coach Todd Bowles, pretty good. I feel like they're not going to kill you right away, but they can hang in any game and then win it at the end. And Baker Mayfield, he's a killer. He wants to go at you. So out of those, though, I think the Lions are the best and have the best shot out of the NFC to make the Super Bowl. But we'll see, because they face off against all these teams this season. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments.